Greetings and welcome. As you most likely know, the newest installment of the Touhou series, named Touhou 18.5 100th Black Market, released at the 14th of August during this year's Comiket. Although, you may also know it by its other name, Touhou Black Market of Bulletphilia. Jun truly outdid himself with the titles this time. Anyways, I decided to make a quick little video where I present my thoughts about the game. I am a Touhou YouTuber after all, so this is kinda my thing. Now, fair warning, I cannot speak Japanese and since the English patch hasn't come out yet, I'm not going to be discussing the story of the game. Also, the footage may not show it, but I'm a bullet hell god, so realize that any screw-ups you see is me just throwing for content. Totally. Oh, and of course, this video may contain spoilers regarding the characters that appear in the game, as well as the gameplay mechanics. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Firstly, we need to start with this game's gimmick, the card system that returned from unconnected marketeers, with a fair amount of changes and polish though. For starters, we now have two currencies, an in-stage currency, the bullet coins, which are gathered primarily through bombing and grazing, something that rewards the player for taking more risks, and the out-of-stage coins, which you can use to buy specific cards that can be equipped before entering a stage. Also, another important change is that now instead of accessing the shop after a boss fight, you access it after a wave of enemies ends instead, meaning you can now make multiple purchases per run, and when you do beat the boss, you get to choose one of 3 cards to add to your out-of-stage shop. In addition, it is now possible to buy multiples of a card in order to upgrade its abilities. Plus, if you've already bought the card in the out-of-stage shop, you get a nice discount whenever you encounter it during your runs. So overall, I'd say the card revamp has made the card system even more interesting than before and has given the game a lot of replay value. Speaking of which, this game also incorporates Roguelite Elements. Specifically, every stage has multiple potential wave attacks, each with versions varying in difficulty, and during your run, the attacks you face as well as their order is randomly decided, thus making each and every playthrough unique. Furthermore, after a set amount of waves, you'll encounter one of many bosses. The bosses consist of recurring characters from previous games, including some that haven't appeared in a while, like Sekibanki and Wakasagi Hime. We also have less surprising cameos like Chirno, Yomu, Eternity Larva, Marik, Tenshi, Sakuya, and... Let's fucking go! Kutaka Fried Chicken is back, baby! Of course, there are more characters in the game, but I don't wanna spoil all the fun. Now, when it comes to music, I feel like I shouldn't even mention it, but it's phenomenal, and that goes for both the new tracks and the old ones that return from 18. However, I would personally like a bit more variety, since quite a few bosses share the same theme. I understand why it's like this, but I'd much prefer it if each boss got a remixed version of their original theme in Jun's modern style. But I repeat, the music is great, I mean just listen to said boss battle theme. When it comes to aesthetics, the game is beautiful both in terms of sprite work and character portraits. I especially love the bullet coins that are quite transparent, meaning that yes, it's hard to see them, but when your screen is already filled with tons of bullets you need to dodge, then adding another item that would divert your attention from them would be terrible gameplay wise. All in all, this game seems like a great package thus far, but I have a few nitpicks, the most important of which being the fact there's no difficulty option, meaning that the game follows a linear progression, which is quite common and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that it tries to fit all of Touhou's usual difficulty options in a single package, meaning it starts off at easy and then steadily turns into lunatic. The issue with that is that not all Touhou players have the same skills. This, in my opinion, will most likely lead to the casual bullet hell players struggling to hit past the first few stages, thus making a good portion of the game unavailable for them. Unless of course, you know, they get good. But here's the thing, Not everyone has the time and or energy to grind bullet hells, and even if they do, it's not necessary that they find it entertaining. On the other side of the spectrum, the bullet hell gods are probably gonna be a bit bored during the early parts of the game, and thus making the game a bit of a slog for them. Personally, I believe that the game would benefit greatly from the following difficulty options. Easy, a mode that will be a fair bit easier than the game currently is. Normal, the game's current difficulty, and hard, a harder version of the game. But, to Zun's defense, balancing the difficulty of a roguelite game with an item system like this can be quite tiresome and time consuming, so I totally understand why he didn't do it. Closing thoughts, the game seems good. It has a few issues and it's definitely not for everyone, but overall it seems like a good package for those that are into this game genre. My biggest fear regarding this game, however, is that we probably won't get to see the card system return in the future games now, for lore reasons, which could potentially reduce the replay value and customization options. Unless of course elements of it return and it's just called something different, like oh, it's not a card system, it's the statue system, totally different. So these are my first impressions of Touhou 18.5, I might make a follow-up on this video once I finish the story and the hype has died down a bit, where I'll discuss the game in more detail, so if you are interested in that, then by all means, subscribe in order not to miss it. Also, please feel free to express your thoughts regarding Touhou 18.5 in the comments, and if you'd like to see more Touhou content, then click the video currently on your screen. Have a good one!